I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Continuing the theme here of the pinch-nosed Negro. And by the way, I don't want anyone to think that Pastor Manny hates black people. I don't. And I've said that several. I don't think everybody loves black people as much as I do. That's the truth. You say, well, you have a funny way of showing it. No, I don't. I think that, in fact, I don't think I know that, all this celebrity and all this college professorship and all these news has not set the black man free. I live with him. I live here in Harlem. I see it every day. Y'all may go into the fancy office building wherever you live in Sacramento or San Francisco or Los Angeles, but I see the black man on the street every day, and I feed him every morning. I educate his children, and I help him when I can. That ain't hate. I'm just, listen, I have enough sense to understand that the only thing that's going to set my brother free is the truth, and that's what I tell him. That's all. He can march all he wants. He can get all the black mayors he wants to get, all the black politicians, athletes, and everybody else. But the only thing going to set him free is the truth, and that's why I love him. That's why I tell him the truth. That's why I tell him the truth. That's the only thing that's going to set him free. And after that, he can do what he wants to do. But all these other people lying to him. Okay, so keeping in the same spirit, I'm going to bring up Charles the false god. They call him Charlemagne. I'm going to bring up Charles the false god. And all these Japheth people running over there asking him for his opinion about something, every time. Anyway, let's in there. Bring up Charles the false god.
I met with Charlemagne at his radio studio to discuss the state of American politics. I saw you describe this campaign that we're headed into as a race between the cowards, the crooks, and the couch.
Yeah, the crooks are the Republicans. The cowards are the Democrats.
You see that? Instantly. People don't realize, they're just opposites of the two sides of the same coin. Go ahead, Miss Cynthia. Go ahead.
Don't fight hard enough on anything. And, the couch is voter apathy. And, that's who everybody is up against in 2024. And right now, it feels like the couch is going to win. I don't know who that benefits, by the couch winning, but it feels like the couch is going to win.
What's your sense? How engaged, how much is your audience paying attention to this race?
My audience, I feel like my audience is America. And when I'm out and about, just, walking in the street, people are calling into the radio station, like nobody is inspired, by the upcoming election. Like, like nobody wants to see the rematch between, Biden and Trump. And that's what makes me feel like the couch is going to win.
Why?
This is the first time in my life when people say things like, this person is a threat to democracy. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely true. And it's mind-boggling to me that, nobody is taking it as serious as I feel like they should. Like, we watched an attempted coup of this country happen on January 6th. And everybody's acting like it was just a bunch of people, wilding at spring break, down in Florida. Yeah. Like, we literally watched, people try to overthrow the government because they didn't like the results of an election led by a former, president. If that doesn't cause a sense of urgency in people, I don't know what will.
Biden does make that an issue over and over again. He constantly talks about that. Why is it not resonating?
Well, he's just an uninspiring candidate. Like, there's nothing about, Joe Biden that makes you want to listen to him. That's why he should be leaning on, his vice president, Kamala Harris, who's way more charismatic than him. He should be leaning on, other surrogates like, Gavin Newsom or, Shapiro in Pennsylvania. Like, he should be leaning on people who are more inspiring than him, who are more charismatic than him, and he should just be, I guess, if you want to call it, the brains of the operation.
Pause just a second. Nikki Haley is running a default campaign that something may happen to Trump, he can get sick. The boy can get sick, can't get up out of bed, and therefore she's the Republican nominee by default. Or, he can go to jail, which is highly possible. And well, not highly possible, but he can get convicted and just his stuff get all discombobulated. But, you know, Charles, the false god, I don't think that, Kamala Harris can beat Donald Trump. Not today. You know, I don't, because the whole idea about, well, Nikki Haley may be able to beat Joe Biden without a doubt. She could whoop that boy like he stole something from Grandma Sarah. But I don't think Kamala Harris could beat Donald Trump. I don't see it. What would be the foundation? Because you say she's charismatic. She just talk a lot. I don't think she's and neither are you two. What's another thing? What is it about you? You're not charismatic. You know, if you look at people that speak, for instance, if you listen to Charles, the false god, when he's trying to express himself, he'll use the term, like, and he uses that all the time because he's not fluent. He's not. If you're talking about a great speaker, talking about Dr. King, or you can even listen to that, Cornel West or one of them, right? They don't talk like that's like you're in the hood talking hood talk. But he talks like that because his language skills are not better than that. He's not fluid. But on the other hand, he suggests, I don't know Gavin Newsom. I don't know that Gavin Newsom could, because Ron DeSantis was whipping Gavin Newsom's butt. Anyway, Mr. N, let's listen to more of what Charles, the false god, has to say.
Behind the scenes. Like, that sounds crazy that we're saying that about a president of the United States of America, but he has no main character energy at all. None.
And what is that? Is that age? Is it the way he is? I mean, why do you, what's the problem?
I don't think it has anything to do with age. I think it has just everything to do with him. Like, Donald Trump is 3 years younger than President Biden, but he just comes off a lot more youthful. He comes off, like he has a lot more energy. And I always say this about them. Donald Trump seems more sincere about his lies than Joe Biden does about his truth.
Charlemagne endorsed Joe Biden in 2020, but says it was primarily because he had chosen Kamala Harris as his running mate. Has she met your expectations? I mean, you've been kind of tough on her.
Yeah, no, she hasn't. But I don't think it's too late for her to pivot. I think that right now, historically, vice presidents have always kind of played their role. Their role is to just basically parrot the president, speak, on behalf of the president. But I think we're in a new era, right? Like for New Jack problems, we need New Jack solutions. Mm-hmm. And she serves a unique purpose, right? Because she is the first woman of color in that position. So there's things that she could talk about. There's things that she could say that I feel like, he can't. And I mean, man, we all remember her in those Senate hearings when she was pressing those people, when she was like really on, she was prosecuting these people. And I want to see her prosecute the case against Donald Trump in this country. I feel like she could go out there and really let the American people know what's going on. I'd like to see her going on outlets like Fox News. I'd like to see her going in there and mixing it up.
Well, do you get blowback from the White House? Because you, even now in this conversation, you're very tough on Biden. So when you say something critical, do you hear from him?
Yeah, and I think that's the stupidest ever. Because I think that, I'm sorry, I forgot. But
we can bleep that out.
Yeah. Because I feel like you should be able to criticize whoever your elected official is, right? Yeah. And even if I do criticize them, I'm criticizing them because of what I see coming up in November. I see what we're facing. So what I'm saying to them is, where is the sense of urgency? You can't keep saying that there's a threat to democracy, and democracy as we know it is going to be gone, but not act like it. And the other problem is they've always done this with every single Republican candidate. Since I've been alive, whoever the Republican presidential candidate has been, they've demonized. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's John McCain. It doesn't matter if it was, Mitt Romney. It doesn't matter who it is. They will demonize the Republican candidate. And now that there's an actual legitimate threat right there in our faces, they're like the party who cried wolf. Nobody believes them.
Do you think Trump's going to win?
I don't know, but that's what's scary about it, right? Because when you look at everything he's done, right? The attempted coup of this country, put the Supreme Court judges on who got rid of Roe v. Wade, takes credit, says, I am the one who got rid of Roe v. Wade. Me, I did that. When you see all of that, it really shouldn't be close, right? But when you have a candidate like President Biden, who the polls are, saying had the lowest approval rating ever, and, he'd lose to a general election in a Trump, that's scary. That's where these conversations are coming from, where they're like, yo, you might need to step aside and put somebody else in there. Because, my fear is that the election's going to be close, right?
You've got a very powerful voice. You've got, incredibly influential show. You've got an audience that Democrats especially crave, and obviously Nikki Haley coming on, Republicans as well. Are you going to be using that voice to try to affect this election?
I'm going to tell people exactly what I'm seeing. I'm not going to endorse anybody, but I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is, democracy really on the brink. Right? Like this is, I would tell my listeners exactly what I'm about to say right now. For years, they've told us that, these people are threats to democracy. This person is absolutely a threat to democracy.
That sounds like an endorsement. I mean, it sounds like you're saying endorse not Donald Trump, which, as you've said, it's going to be Biden.
Yeah. Well, I don't think that's an endorsement. I'm not simply telling people what is going on out there. Because I'm gonna speak the truth about Democrats too. Because I feel like if you lie to people about Democrats, they won't believe you when you tell them the truth about Republicans. So if I lie to people about what I see with Joe Biden, they're not gonna believe me when I tell them the truth about what I see with Donald Trump. So all you got to do at this point, and I hate to say this, but why do we keep having to say this? Pick your poison. One poison might send you to the hospital for a couple of days.
Yeah.
The other one's going to absolutely kill you.
I think that it's important for us to recognize just how destroyed the so-called black man. Now, he's a Hamite. They have become, and who have become the spokesperson. I mean, you got an idiot like this, calls himself the God, and gives himself this weird French name. That and you got others like Van Jones or Eddie Glover. I mean, when you look at the years ago, and you can call me an old timer if you want, from the old school. But years ago, when I was a member of the Baptist Ministers Conference, the Baptist preachers who had brought black people through the World War II. Many of them had come through the Depression and had led black people to survive, maintain themselves as families, raise their children, build Shaw University, Howard University, build all these colleges, Tuskegee Institute. And when black people were able to do all of that without ever having anybody in the office as a black mayor or black president or black anything, they were able to do all those things, build schools, maintain the family, maintain the neighborhood, make babies, be mothers and fathers, and go to church on Sunday. And so, someone said, well, I think it was, what was it doing, the Nixon administration, that I think James Brown endorsed Richard Nixon. That's right, James Brown, born in Augusta, Georgia, poor as Job's turkey, raised by a prostitute mama and a no good daddy, yet he endorsed a Republican. And so it isn't longer, but it's just that. The preacher used to say, what we're doing is switching from leading Negroes to Negro leaders. In other words, when we started looking at people like Sammy Davis Jr., Sidney Poitier, and all the Japheth people running to them, asking them their opinions about who should be the president, one thing after the other, and even got James Brown to endorse Richard Nixon. The preachers who had watched from the time of the Depression, the Civil War, not Civil War, but World War II, said they're now running to leading Negroes, but they're running to but they're not running to Negro leaders. In other words, that's one thing. Sammy Davis Jr. and Sidney Poitier was a leading Negro, but he wasn't a Negro leader. And that's the difference. And the preachers used to be, listen, Martin Luther King was not accepted by the Baptist preachers across America. Even after he died, finally they decided to get on board and say, well, let's make his birthday a holiday. But Martin King wasn't accepted. Listen, most black people didn't accept Martin King. He's just a leading Negro, but he wasn't a Negro leader. And so I come with that perspective. Now you got people like this Charles, the false God. He's a freak. And Al Sharpton. I mean, if you could stand in my shoes and look, well, these are the people that the white people, the media are running to give counsel and advice about what's going to happen in the presidential election, what's good for the nation. You're asking Al Sharpton, you're asking Charles, the false God. It's a scream. He said, Pastor Man, you just saying this is young, this is a new day. Yeah, it is. Oh, this is a new day, it's a new movement. You're doggone right. This one left me behind. All I know is that in my day, my movement did a whole lot better in terms of economics. Harlem was a beautiful place. I mean, Harlem was a paradise. It was paradise. I'm telling you, everybody wanted to come. I'm going uptown to Harlem. I'm going to let my hair down in Harlem. Harlem was a paradise. It wasn't a ghetto. Now it's a hellhole. And fathers were in the homes, and children had fathers and mothers both to give counsel. And all of these so-called Negroes out there now, it is the worst destruction than anybody's ever seen at any time. All right, okay.